It's coming. Well, and I'm glad they got their moment too on, to go viral and with their tifo. I saw so many funny things about like some Europeans on Twitter being like, "Wow, like now this is the first funny or this is the first actual like soccer culture thing that Americans have done." I was like, "Okay."
It's the first thing you've seen, right? There's so many people
And
who
I'm
want to
like,
make.
"But could it also be because it's a joke that is relating to it's, a joke, a play on words off of a European club thing that you kind of have to like in their minds it's like an underground thing that Americans wouldn't know about the Bernabeu like
Yeah, true. So
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 you think
not
it's
to
like a really great soccer mind.
right. So not to bury the lead, but she's talking about. Then this leads into the next topic I wanted to bring up today. But Vermont had this big, what I would call a great tifo. I mean, so it's got Bernie Sanders on it, and it says "Welcome to the Bernie Bayou," and it's just like, yes, if you're a soccer nut, you
It's
know about
great.
the Bernabeu, where oh my God, am I gonna get clowned? Real Madrid play there, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
You got it.
I like said it so naturally that it was like it's like when you think you mispronounce like archipelago, and it's like wait archipelago, wait no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Which way was the right way? Yeah, which way was the wrong way? Yeah.
right. I bring that up because me and Violet worked with a guy, and he said it wrong, and we teased him so much. Now I'm like so self conscious every time I say it. I don't know which one's right. Anyway, so you know, in Europe, you'd get a sign with Bernie or their version of Bernie, and it would say, murder billionaires or something, right? But like here, here apparently, so I'm gonna claim ignorance. I have no idea what USL's rules are about political themed tifos and whatever. And to be honest, it's political themed in the sense that it's a politician, but what else
Yeah,
what else represents Vermont on a national stage
right.
nearly as much as just the existence of Bernie Sanders? Like they have another senator. Do you know who it
Yeah.
is?
No one, yeah. Nope. And no one else does either.
So,
Yeah.
like there's that. Like who else represents the state of Vermont like that? What other famous
Yeah.
person? Like, you know,
Yeah. No, I totally. And it's not like I guess it's a could be seen as a political statement if you're reading into like, okay, what is Bernie? But it's also like I mean, I feel like not just that Bernie's a Vermont guy, but also like represents a lot of like the stereotypes of what a Vermonter would believe and think and do. And so I feel like it also works in that sense.
yeah, but like you're not wrong. So the reason I bring up the politics of it is we got to see on the converse side a guy wearing a MAGA hat get escorted out of a St. Louis City game, which I'm sure he did not expect that. Now,
St. Louis, you know?
yeah. So, um, with that said, you know, it's I'm gonna be a cop out. I'm gonna be a cop out because I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. Because here's the thing. Yes. Do I support MAGA politics? No. Do I support Bernie politics? Yes. Is the MAGA guy or is the Bernie tifo amazing and should be allowed? Yes. Should the MAGA guy be able to have his hat in the game? I say yes. Now,
Yeah.
personally, the problem becomes how long before you get the Confederate flag or you get swastikas and like you know shit like that. Now, then
Or
that's the
it does
problem.
it incite violence. Like even I do feel like they would probably say there's something in the threshold about inciting violence, and a swastika or a Confederate flag could do that. I feel like the only thing I'd say is like MAGA hat could. I mean, I'm sure you'd get punched before that, and you were allowed to stay, and eventually you'd be starting some sort of fight, or there would be a fight started, and that's the only thing I can see like that they'd say, okay, well, we're just banning all of this stuff so that it doesn't turn into a tussle. Because what I was gonna say is like my belief would probably be, yeah, like he can wear the hat and be fully responsible for any of the repercussions, people disagreeing with him or expressing that in whatever way they want to. But that does mean that if there is a fight that starts because of it, and we know it's because of that. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like to me, personal level, that's the instant. Oh, you're an asshole symbol. Like,
Right.
and so
Right.
like,
And you
but
deserve to.
and I, listen, you want to talk about freedom of speech even beyond the First Amendment. You could say anything you want in existence here. That don't mean that you are free from consequence. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
Right.
don't
Right.
a punch what did I used to say? A punch in the face is one of the greatest life learning tools in life. Like we've all.
Yeah.
I mean I don't know how that obviously I don't know being a woman if this is as universal, but being a dude, we have all been punched in the face at least a couple times and have learned a lesson in
Yeah. I've not been punched.
in that process. So, but
I've
no,
been punched once used to do martial arts, and I was punched in the face with like gear on, and it hurt. I was like shocked at how much it sounds so dumb, but like I was like I remember it happening, and I was like, wow, this is what it feels like. This really hurts. I was like my eyes were tearing up. I was like I had no idea it would actually be this bad. This really doesn't feel good.
holy
So maybe
crap, that's
that
what
was
that
the old
feels
lesson.
like.
Yeah, honestly, I was like, damn.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
But like this is hard for me because I do feel like there should be a certain level of acceptance of political speech. Now, MLS does have rules against political speech in the stadium, and which covers MAGA hats
which we've
and
seen
and
ice
let's
banners.
let's not forget about the 3 people from the Chicago supporter section suspended over having an ice banner, which I felt was not even necessarily. It really straddled the line of anything that could be considered like punishable. It was nowhere
Yeah,
like it just
I mean,
anyway.
and just
So
to my earlier point about what would incite violence, and if that's the angle that they would, their defense of whatever rules they have is the anti. Who's gonna look at an anti-ice sign and be like, "I'm gonna punch you in the face"? Like that's probably less likely to happen. Like it's not protesting ice and protesting the actions that are happening around that's not gonna incite unless you have some nutcase who's like, I don't know, just that's really their passion project and they're like mad that people would be against it. Like I guess you could, but it's not as much. I feel like not as likely to incite violence.
well,
But
it's
if they got banned, then I'm glad the guy with the hat got kicked out too. At least they're consistent.
well, let's talk about this. So, do you as a supporter in a supporter section, do you feel as though that we are dodging certain bullets because of these rules? Like there are certain teams, and I do not have an example right now, where they have supporters of different wings of political ideology in the same stadium but separated because they would also fight. And then like let's not pretend that when Lazio comes to town, certain teams supporters aren't
Right, right, right.
uh, ideologically opposed to them, or your Protestants versus
You don't like,
Catholics
no,
in
yeah,
Celtic and Rangers,
yeah.
So are we dodging a bullet because we have these nanny state rules?
No.
Okay. Well,
Simple.
yeah, it is simple. Yeah, I mean, you know, he's gonna make a big fucking deal about it.
The
I
thing
get it.
is, honestly, I think MLS is, I mean, Americans, America, all of us, the whole thing is, it's so corporatized already. Nobody's actually gonna, I mean, in my opinion, it's just not, it's so sanitized already, even without those specific rules. I just feel like it wouldn't be a problem.
So what you're telling me is
It's my hot take.
hooliganism is not bound for American soccer.
At least in its current form, I kind of think, yeah. I mean, with the prices and just, yeah. You bring your kids and paying $20 for a beer. I don't know how drunk you're really getting enough to beat people.
I spent four
There are a lot
hundred
of
dollars for
barriers in
this
place.
buzz.
Right.
Any